Yeah. Hello guys, we are going to discuss the 100,000 question session. Okay, these questions are very important coming NEET 2026 exam. Okay, I did take most important questions for the coming exam guys. You have to predict these questions and this you can analyze these trends. What is NEET actually following the trends? Okay, yeah, it session may help for you. You can continue this. Yeah, pituitary gland question relevant to the chemical control and coordination topic. This is pituitary gland question. Okay, yeah, which hormone does not act on the anterior pituitary? Okay, which hormone does not act on the anterior pituitary? GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone, and TRH, okay, and somatostatin and oxytocin. Somatostatin and oxytocin. Okay, yeah, guys, there is two lobes in the pituitary gland, okay, which is anterior pituitary and posterior pituitary. Okay, yeah, I'm going to explain here. This is, if this is brain, there is the third ventricle. This part is third ventricle. Third ventricle below there is a gland which is hypothalamus. This is hypothalamus is the part which is part of the diencephalon. Below the hypothalamus there is a pituitary. This is anterior pituitary and this is posterior pituitary. Two lobes gland, anterior and posterior pituitary is there. Okay, yes, and there are certain hormones which is release anterior pituitary and posterior pituitary. This anterior pituitary, this is hypothalamus. Hypothalamus also release the hormone gonadotropin releasing hormone hypothalamus. Hypothalamus release gonadotropin releasing hormone. Gonadotropin releasing hormone hypothalamus release and this is and inhibitory hormones also hypothalamus release. Okay, hypothalamus they can encourage anterior pituitary and posterior pituitary. Anterior pituitary and posterior pituitary. Anterior pituitary release certain hormone which is like, here the answer is the hormone which is does not act on anterior pituitary, does not act on anterior pituitary. Oxytocin is the answer. Oxytocin is the answer. Oxytocin, it is not act on anterior pituitary, it is act on posterior pituitary. Posterior pituitary, it is act on posterior pituitary, guys. Yeah, so we are going to discuss about anterior pituitary and posterior pituitary glands. Okay, yeah guys, this is the anterior pituitary, this is posterior pituitary, this is adenohypophysis, we can call adenohypophysis, this is neurohypophysis. Adenohypophysis, they can synthesize the hormone and release the hormone. This part. Neurohypophysis store hormone. This can be stores hormone and release hormones. Okay, yeah, neuro mean there is a neural bunch of neurons, they can carry forward the hormones from the hypothalamus. From the hypothalamus, neurons, they can carry hormone. Hypothalamus to neurons, they can carry into the posterior pituitary. Okay, yeah, anterior pituitary hormone TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, is the anterior pituitary hormone, and ACTH, adrenocorticotropin hormone, ACTH, and prolactin also there is a anterior pituitary hormone, and growth hormone also anterior pituitary hormone, and FSH and LH, gonadotropins, are the anterior pituitary hormones. Thyroid stimulating hormone act on thyroid gland to release thyroid. Okay, yeah, and this is ACTH, adrenocorticotropin hormone, act on adrenaline to release the aldosterone, and prolactin act on mammary glands. Okay, and the growth hormone act on bone and tissue for the growth, and gonadotropin hormones especially act on ovaries and testes to release FSH and LH. I hope you guys understand this. And if come to the posterior pituitary, this is neurohypophysis. There is a releasing hormone from the hypothalamus, from the neurons, they can enter into the posterior pituitary, that can be store hormones and release hormone. Anterior pituitary, they can synthesize hormone and release hormones. These anterior pituitary itself synthesize and release. Okay, venous flow mean there is a vein, there is a blood vessel which is they can flow the hormone, which is posterior pituitary, the capillaries of anterior, they can take the hormones from the hypothalamus through the neurohypophysis neurons. They can store the hormone and release the hormone, that is oxytocin. Oxytocin act on mammary gland, oxytocin act on smooth functioning of the uterus muscles. Oxytocin is two functions, there is a smooth functioning of uterine muscles, and oxytocin act on mammary glands, and there is a prolactin also act on mammary glands. Prolactin also act on mammary gland, but prolactin which is posterior pituitary, oxytocin which is anterior pituitary. Prolactin itself, posterior pituitary, they can synthesize, oxytocin they can release from the anterior pituitary, and ADH hormone also act on adrenal gland. This hormone act on adrenal gland, which is the posterior pituitary, they can release ADH hormone. I hope you guys understand. For that question is oxytocin. This question is what? This question is which hormone does not act on anterior pituitary. So oxytocin does not act on anterior pituitary, that is act on posterior pituitary. Oxytocin is the answer, guys. Okay, I hope you guys understand this. Next question. Yeah, it is NEET 2017 question. The hormone which is not secretes the human anterior pituitary. Okay, again this question coming from 2017. This is oxytocin. This is oxytocin. I did explain previously. Yeah, next question. Yeah, thyroid and parathyroid. Okay, this is NEET 2020 question, guys. NEET 2020 question. Parathyroid increases absorption of calcium from where they can absorption calcium ion. Okay, stomach, pancreas, small intestine and renal tubule. Actually, guys, the calcium absorption is going to take place stomach. No, it is small intestine also and the renal tubule also. But in the small intestine, there is a absorption where the very small amount, but in the renal tubule where the nephron, if it is nephron, guys, the DCT part and collecting duct part, there is a huge calcium ion absorption, huge calcium ions or absorption where the DCT part and collecting duct, which is renal tubule, is the right answer. I am going to explain it. Yeah. Parathyroid directly increase the calcium reabsorption in the kidney tubules, especially in the ascending loop of Henle and distal convoluted tube, okay, and collecting duct, okay, that is thereby reducing calcium excretion in the urine, okay, that, yeah, there is a calcium excretion reduced by the reabsorption going to take place in the DCT, distal convoluted tube and collecting duct and ascending loop of Henle also. There is a reabsorption going to take place, calcium ions reabsorption going to take place, which is the renal tubule, which is ascending Henle limb and DCT and collecting duct for the reducing of excretion of calcium in the urine. I hope you guys understand this. Next question. Okay, which hormone, which one of the hormone, okay, which one of the hormone like is not involved in the sugar metabolism, not involved in the sugar metabolism? Cortisone, aldosterone, insulin and glucagon. Insulin, glucagon is relevant to the sugar, and corticonephrines, like guys, glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids are involved in the like insulin. Actually, this is the answer is here aldosterone. Aldosterone not about the glucose metabolism, not about sugar metabolism. It is the aldosterone is reabsorption of sodium ion in the DCT part and collecting duct. Aldosterone is located above the kidney. There is the adrenal gland, adrenal cortex, they can release the hormone called aldosterone. Aldosterone act on the DCT part and collecting duct of the nephron for the reabsorption of sodium ions. It is not about sugar metabolism. So here the aldosterone is the answer. This hormone aldosterone is primarily involved in the regulation of electrolytes, water balance in the kidney, not sugar metabolism. Okay, I hope you guys understand this. Yeah, hypersecretion of insulin leads to, hypersecretion mean more amount of insulin if the produce, what happened? This is the question of NEET PYQ. Guys, this is the innovative question, application oriented question. Okay, yes, hyper mean it is high amount of secretion of insulin. Diabetes mellitus, diabetes insipidus, hypoglycemia, acromegaly. Acromegaly is about growth hormone. Diabetes mellitus is, there is like diabetes mellitus and diabetes insipidus is relevant to the insulin, but the answer is hypoglycemia. Answer is hypoglycemia. This is the answer, guys. Hypoglycemia. Hypo mean low. Low amount of sugar level in the low amount of sugar mean glucose in the blood. Call this is hyper mean high. Insulin, if the high insulin, low amount of glucose in the blood. Okay, yes, we are going to discuss explanation about it. Yeah, hypoglycemia, also known as low blood sugar. Low blood sugar, there is a glucose level will decrease in the blood, is a condition where the level of glucose in your blood is drops below the normal range. If the hyperglycemia, okay, that is hyperglycemia mean, yeah, hypersecretion of insulin going to place the hypoglycemia. Hypersecretion of insulin going to become hypoglycemia. Hypo mean low, hyper mean high. Okay, hyper mean high. If the hyperinsulin, hypoglucose in the blood, hyperinsulin, hypoglucose in the blood. If it is hypoinsulin mean low insulin, hyperglucose in the blood, irreversible. Okay, yes. Yeah, next question, adrenal gland. Adrenal gland, 2016 question, guys. 2016 question, adrenal gland. Which one of the following hormone do not act on adrenal cortex? Do not act on adrenal cortex. ACTH, FSH, cortisol, aldosterone. ACTH, FSH and cortisol, aldosterone. Very simple question, guys. You have to easily eliminate this answer here. ACTH, FSH, okay. Here answer is FSH, guys. FSH. These all ACTH, cortisol, aldosterone is adrenal gland hormones. FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, which is releasing from the pituitary gland, which is under the hypothalamus. Okay, hypothalamus. Release GnRH. GnRH act on pituitary, posterior pituitary, release gonadotropins, these gonadotropins are FSH and LH. So, this is about the anterior pituitary, anterior pituitary hormones are FSH and LH. Okay, I hope you guys understand about this question. Yeah, adrenal gland hormone, just look into here. Yeah, this is adrenal gland, where it is located in the kidney. above the kidney, this is the kidney, this is the kidney, above the kidney the place adrenal gland, above the kidney the place adrenal gland. Adrenal gland has two places, two regions, that is cortex region and medulla region, cortex region and medulla region. Cortex can release some hormone, medulla also release some hormone. This is the most important for exam point of view, guys. What are the hormones which is released? Cortex and medulla of the adrenal gland. Okay, cortex, they can release mineralocorticoids, cortex they can release mineralocorticoid, that is aldosterone, corticosterone, aldosterone. Aldosterone regulate osmolarity, mean electrical balance, mean there is a like ions, ionic balance, osmolarity, ionic balance. They can reabsorption of sodium in the nephron, in the DCT and collecting duct, part of nephron. This is mineralocorticoids. There is a mineral balance is going to take place in the like osmolarity, ionic balance in the nephron, mineralocorticoids. Glucocorticoids, that is cortisol and cortisone. Glucocorticoids, they can act on metabolic activity, okay, act on metabolic activity. And androgens, androgens nothing but the testosterone, estrogen, okay, male female androgens, that is cortical nephrons, sorry, cortex region, cortical hormones of the adrenal gland, mineralocorticoids, glucocorticoids, androgen. Mineralocorticoids main hormone is aldosterone, glucocorticoid cortisol. Cortisol mean there is a metabolism activity going to take place. Androgens are the hormones, male female hormones, estrogen and progesterone, which is produced from the adrenal cortex. And if come to the adrenal medulla, adrenal medulla, there is hormone which is catecholamine and peptide hormones. Catecholamines are the epinephrine and non-epinephrine. Epinephrine and non-epinephrine, which is produced from the medullary region of adrenal gland. Medullary region of adrenal gland, that is epinephrine and non-epinephrine. Flight fight responses. Flight fight responses. Flight fight responses we can call, there is a catecholamines. And peptide hormone somatostatin, somatostatin which is peptide hormone, guys, somatostatin which is peptide hormone. I hope you guys understand this. Next question. Yeah, which one of the following hormone is responsible for the fight flight responses? Cortisol, insulin, adrenaline and thyroxine. Which one? Adrenal, thyroxine and cortisol and insulin. Flight fight responses. Okay, cortisol or insulin, insulin which is involved in the fight responses. The hormone responsible for the fight or flight is adrenaline, sorry. Just now we completed adrenaline, right? Yeah, adrenaline. Adrenaline, which is like adrenal gland which is produce adrenaline, which is called catecholamine. Okay, yes, adrenaline is the answer here. Yes, fight responses, they can release epinephrine, non-epinephrine. Adrenaline, non-adrenaline. We can call epinephrine and non-epinephrine also. Okay. Yes, the hormone is responsible for the fight-flight responses is adrenaline. Okay, adrenaline is also known as epinephrine. Yeah, adrenaline is also known as epinephrine, secretes by adrenal glands during the stressful situations and triggering the cascade of physiological changes like increased the heart rate and blood pressure and muscle strength to enable the body to either fight or flee of a danger. This is about the adrenaline which is involved in the fight-flight responses. I hope you guys understand this. Yeah, next question. Yeah, which hormone is related to the jet lag? Jet lag. This is also NEET question, guys. Which hormone is related to the jet lag? This is the most innovative and most important question, guys. Okay, you might not observe this word jet lag. Okay, this is the important question, guys. Yeah, jet lag mean this is the hormone where melatonin is the jet lag. Okay, the melatonin which is hormone, we call it as jet lag. Okay, yeah, melatonin. The hormone melatonin is the most directly related to the jet lag. Jet lag disrupts the body natural sleep wake cycle. Sleep wake cycle they can actually influence, which is heavily influenced by the melatonin production. Heavily influenced by the melatonin production. Okay, yeah. This is release jet lag. Yeah, sleep wake disruption is going to take place. Melatonin produced by the pineal gland. Melatonin produced by the pineal gland to regulate the circadian rhythm. To regulate the circadian rhythm and release, yes, when the traveling across the time zones, the light dark cycle is going to be disturbed. Okay, it is causes mismatch the body natural melatonin production leading to the jet lag symptoms. This is the jet lag symptoms here. Okay, this shows. This is the most important innovative question, guys. I hope you guys understand this. Yeah, if come to the next question. Yeah, the condition diabetes insipidus is associated with. Okay, yeah, hyposecretion of insulin hypersecretion of insulin, hyposecretion of ADH and hypersecretion of ADH. What is this? The condition. Yeah, the condition diabetes insipidus. Diabetes insipidus. Diabetes mellitus is about the glucose insulin. Okay, diabetes mellitus is the, this is about glucose. Okay, yeah, condition diabetes insipidus, diabetes mellitus. This is glucose mean diabetes mellitus. Insulin. Okay, yeah, diabetes insipidus mean the hyposecretion of ADH or hypersecretion of ADH. Yeah, it is secretion of hypersecretion of ADH. It is diabetes insipidus is associated with the problem related to the hormone vasopressin. Vasopressin nothing but ADH, which regulate the water balance in the body. Mean if this is the nephron, where there is a part of DCT and collecting duct, water and sodium reabsorption going to take place in the DCT and collecting duct. Sodium reabsorption going to take place, leads to the urine volume decrease, blood pressure will increase. Okay, so this is the ADH hormone which can be regulate the water balance in the body. ADH. Okay, yes, yeah, this is all over the questions for today, guys. I hope you guys understand this session. We will continue this session into the every day. Guys, we are providing, this is the NEET world, we are providing online NEET courses and offline NEET courses for long term batch. For online, it is about 3,000 rupees per month. Online, it is offline, it is about, we are branch here in the Narayanaguda, we are providing on offline courses for long term batches. This is the best way for the roadmap for the NEET crack. Okay, yeah, I hope you guys understand. You can share this video, like this video for me. It can be encouraged for me to give the more videos for you guys. Thank you.